August 15, 1714. The sun beats down on a crowded square in Constantinople. Ottoman guards shove a man in chains toward a wooden platform where an executioner waits with a curved blade. The man is 60 years old, dressed in the robes of a prince but stripped of everything else: his crown, his fortune, his freedom. Behind him stand 4 young men, also in chains, his sons, ages 15, 18, 23, and 25. They watch their father climb the steps to the execution block, knowing they will follow him. The crowd falls silent. Sultan Ahmed III sits on a raised platform, watching. This is not just an execution, this is theater. A message written in blood for every vassal prince who thinks they can betray the Ottoman Empire and survive. How does a man who ruled for 26 years, who built churches and palaces, who commanded wealth beyond imagination, end up kneeling before an executioner with his sons lined up behind him? How does loyalty turn into betrayal and power turn into a death sentence? And why did this execution become a legend that still echoes through history, transforming a political schemer into a martyred saint? The year is 1688. Constantin Brâncoveanu is 34 years old when he becomes Prince of Wallachia. He does not inherit the throne through bloodline or military conquest. He buys it. The Ottoman Empire has turned the Wallachian throne into an auction, selling the position to the highest bidder every few years. Brâncoveanu pays an enormous sum to the Sultan's court. Some sources suggest over 200,000 gold coins, and is installed as prince. This is how the Ottoman system works. Wallachia is a vassal state, squeezed between the jaws of empires. To the south, the Ottomans control the Balkans. To the north, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth and the rising Russian Empire. To the west, the Habsburg Empire of Austria. Wallachia is a buffer zone, and its prince is a puppet who must pay tribute, provide soldiers, and obey without question. Before diving into this forgotten story of faith, betrayal, and brutal execution, if you enjoy learning about the rulers who defied empires and paid the ultimate price, consider hitting that like button and subscribing for more content like this. And please comment below to let me know where you're listening from. I find it incredible that we're exploring these tragic chapters together from different parts of the world, connected across time and space by our shared fascination with the moment power meets principle. Constantin Brâncoveanu is not a warrior prince. He is a politician, a diplomat, and a businessman. His family accumulated wealth through trade, land ownership, and careful alliances with whoever held power. He understands that survival in Wallachia requires playing a dangerous game, appearing loyal to the Sultan while secretly building relationships with the Christian powers of Europe who might one day liberate the region. For the first decade of his reign, Constantine plays the game perfectly. He pays Ottoman tribute on time. He sends Wallachian soldiers to fight in Ottoman campaigns. He hosts Turkish officials with lavish hospitality. The Sultan views him as a model vassal, wealthy, obedient, and useful, but Constantine is also building. He constructs churches and monasteries across Wallachia, commissioning art and architecture in what becomes known as the Brâncoveanesque style, a fusion of Byzantine, Ottoman, and Western European influences. He funds schools, supports scholars, and patronizes religious institutions. His court in Bucharest becomes one of the most cultured in Eastern Europe. And secretly he begins corresponding with Austria and Russia, not openly rebelling, not raising armies, just sending letters, offering intelligence about Ottoman military movements, expressing hope that Christian powers will eventually push back the Turkish advance. It is subtle, careful, the kind of treason that can be denied if discovered. Except it cannot be denied forever. The year is 1711. Tsar Peter the Great of Russia invades the Ottoman Empire, launching the Pruth River Campaign with the goal of liberating Orthodox Christian territories in the Balkans. Peter expects support from the Christian princes of Wallachia and Moldavia. He expects Constantin Brâncoveanu to openly join the Russian side, to provide supplies and soldiers, to finally throw off the Ottoman yoke. Constantin does not. He watches from Bucharest as the Russian army marches south, and he makes a calculated decision. The Russians are outnumbered. The Ottomans still control the region. If he joins Peter and the Russians lose, the Sultan will have him executed. If he stays neutral and the Russians win, he can claim he was waiting for the right moment. Peter the Great loses, badly. The Ottoman army under Grand Vizier Baltasar Mehmed Pasha surrounds the Russian forces at the Pruth River and forces Peter to sign a humiliating peace treaty. The Tsar retreats, abandoning his Balkan ambitions, and Constantin Brâncoveanu breathes a sigh of relief. He stayed neutral. He survived. But the Sultan's spies have been reading his letters. The Ottomans have known for years that Constantine has been corresponding with European powers. They have intercepted messages. They have turned his own couriers into informants. They know that he offered to support the Russians, that he only held back because he feared losing. The neutrality was not loyalty. It was cowardice disguised as pragmatism. Sultan Ahmed III does not execute Constantine immediately. That would be too obvious, too rushed. Instead, he lets Constantine continue ruling, paying tribute, thinking he has escaped consequences. The Sultan is patient. He waits for the right moment to make an example that every other vassal prince will remember. Meanwhile, Constantine's enemies within Wallachia are preparing their own betrayal. The boyar class, the landowning nobility, resents Constantine's power. He has ruled for over 2 decades, accumulating wealth and centralizing authority. Some boyars are jealous, others are opportunistic, and a few are actively conspiring with Ottoman officials, feeding them information, positioning themselves to take the throne once Constantine falls. The trap is closing, and Constantine does not see it. The date is March 23, 1714. An imperial summons arrives from Constantinople. Sultan Ahmed III requests Constantin Brâncoveanu's presence in the capital to discuss tribute payments and military obligations. The message is polite, formal, routine. Come to Istanbul. Bring your financial records. Bring your sons so they can be educated in the Sultan's court. This is not a request. It is a command disguised as an invitation, and everyone knows what it means. Constantine's advisors beg him not to go. They tell him it is a trap, that the Sultan intends to arrest him, that he will never return. But Constantine is 60 years old. He has spent 26 years navigating Ottoman politics. He believes he can talk his way out of anything. He believes his wealth, his connections, his reputation for loyalty will protect him. He is wrong. On April 1, 1714, Constantin Brâncoveanu departs Bucharest with his 4 sons, Constantin, Stefan, Radu and Mate, and his closest advisor, Ionescu Vacherescu. They travel south, crossing the Danube, entering Ottoman territory. The journey takes weeks. Every mile closer to Constantinople, the sense of dread grows. By the time they reach the imperial capital in late April, Constantine knows he has made a catastrophic mistake. He is arrested the moment he arrives. No trial, no explanation. Just guards surrounding him and his sons, confiscating their belongings, dragging them to a prison near the Topkapi Palace. The charges are treason, conspiracy with foreign powers, and plotting against the Sultan. The evidence is his own letters, presented by Ottoman officials who have been building this case for years. Constantine tries to negotiate. He offers money, vast sums, everything he has hidden in Wallachian estates. He offers information about other princes, other conspiracies. He offers to abdicate and live in exile. The Sultan refuses. This is not about money. This is about sending a message. For 4 months, Constantine and his sons are held in prison. They are not tortured, but they are isolated, left to contemplate their fate. Ottoman officials occasionally visit, offering deals. Convert to Islam and you will be spared. Renounce your faith, swear loyalty to the Sultan, and you can live. Constantine refuses every time. If you're finding this story of faith and political catastrophe as gripping as I am, a like really helps share these forgotten histories with more people who need to understand that sometimes the greatest acts of defiance happen not on battlefields, but in prison cells. The date is August 15, 1714, the Feast of the Assumption in the Orthodox Christian calendar, a holy day. Sultan Ahmed III chooses this date deliberately. The execution will happen in public, in a square where thousands can watch. The message must be clear. This is what happens to princes who betray the empire. Constantin Brâncoveanu and his 4 sons are brought from prison and marched through the streets of Constantinople. Chains rattle. The crowd gathers. Ottoman soldiers line the route, keeping order. The 5 men are dressed in the remnants of their princely robes, now filthy from months in captivity. Constantine walks with his head high, whispering prayers. His sons follow, the youngest Mate, 15 years old, struggling to keep pace. They reach the execution platform. The executioner waits, his blade freshly sharpened. Sultan Ahmed III sits on a raised dais, watching with cold calculation. Ottoman officials stand nearby, ready to record what happens. This will be documented. This will be remembered. The Sultan's representative steps forward and makes the final offer. Convert to Islam. Renounce Christianity. Swear loyalty to the Sultan and you will be spared. Your sons will be spared. You will lose your title, your wealth, but you will live. Constantine looks at his sons. He looks at the executioner. He looks at the crowd. And he refuses. The executions begin with the youngest. Mate, 15 years old, is dragged to the block first. The logic is brutal. Make the father watch his children die, starting with the youngest, breaking him psychologically before killing him. Mate kneels. The offer is repeated. Convert, live. He looks back at his father. Constantine speaks. According to eyewitness accounts, he tells his son to remain faithful, to refuse the offer to die as a Christian. Mate does. The blade falls. Radu is next, 23 years old. The same offer, the same refusal, the same words from Constantine. Stay strong, die with faith. The blade falls. Stefan is third, 18 years old. By now the crowd is silent. Even the hardened soldiers are disturbed by what they are witnessing. The offer is made again. Stefan refuses. The blade falls. The eldest son, also named Constantine, is last, 25 years old. He has watched 3 brothers die. He has heard his father urge them to martyrdom. The offer is made one final time. He could save himself. He could convert, live, rebuild. He refuses. The blade falls. 4 sons dead. Their blood pooling on the wooden platform, draining between the boards, flowing into the dust of the square. And now Constantin Brâncoveanu himself is brought forward. He is 60 years old. He has lost everything, his throne, his wealth, his family. The offer is repeated one last time. Convert, live. He refuses, he kneels. He prays aloud, his voice carrying across the silent square. And then the blade falls. The execution is complete. 6 men dead, Constantine, his 4 sons, and his advisor Ionescu Vakerescu, who was executed alongside them. Their bodies are left on display for hours, a warning to every vassal prince in the empire. Betray the Sultan, and this is your fate. But something unexpected happens. The brutality of the execution shocks even the Ottoman court. Witnesses write accounts describing Constantine's calm defiance, his refusal to break even as his children died before him. Christian communities across the Balkans hear the story and begin venerating Constantine not as a failed politician, but as a martyr who chose faith over survival. Within decades, the Orthodox Church begins the process of canonization. In 1992, nearly 3 centuries after his death, Constantin Brâncoveanu is officially declared a saint by the Romanian Orthodox Church. His feast day is August 16th, the day after his execution. He is remembered not for his political failures, but for his refusal to renounce his faith even when it cost him everything. The legacy is complex. Was Constantine a hero of Christianity, a man who stood by his principles when offered an easy escape? Or was he a schemer who miscalculated, who played a dangerous game of secret diplomacy and lost? The answer is probably both. He was ambitious, opportunistic, and willing to betray the Ottomans if it served his interests. But when the moment came, when he could have saved himself and his sons by converting, he chose to die instead. That choice transformed him from a politician into a legend. If you found Constantin Brâncoveanu's story as tragic and powerful as I did, please give this video a like. It really helps the algorithm share this hidden history with more people who deserve to know that sometimes the greatest acts of courage are not about winning battles, but about refusing to compromise when everything is at stake. And if you want to dive deeper into the rulers, martyrs, and forgotten heroes who shaped history through defiance, make sure you're subscribed. I have a question for you to answer in the comments. If you had been Constantin Brâncoveanu, offered a chance to save your life and your sons' lives by converting, would you have refused, or would you have chosen survival over faith? I read every comment, and I'd love to hear your perspective on whether martyrdom is heroism or tragic stubbornness. Next time, we're uncovering the story of the king who faked his own death, ruled in disguise for 20 years, and returned to reclaim his throne in the most dramatic reveal in medieval history. You won't want to miss it. Today in Bucharest, Romania, there is a statue of Constantin Brâncoveanu in front of the National Bank. He stands in full princely regalia, not as a victim, but as a symbol of resistance and faith. His legacy is not the wealth he accumulated or the palaces he built. It is the moment he stood on that platform in Constantinople, surrounded by the bodies of his sons, and refused to betray the principles he claimed to serve. August 15, 1714, 6 men knelt before an executioner and chose death over compromise. Their blood ran into the streets of Constantinople, but their defiance echoed across centuries. Constantin Brâncoveanu died a martyr, and in dying he became immortal, a reminder that sometimes the only power left is the power to say no, even when it costs you everything.